The apart hotel sector has a very low penetration in the UK and in Europe, and so there are a lot of operators coming into the apart hotel market, which creates opportunity for developers. When you have a lot of operators coming into a market, they are looking for buildings to move into. It means that you have a lot of end-user demand in the sector, which creates development opportunities, and that's why it's a strong growth area for our business. The market has experienced a flattening out in the last 3 years, and I think we are going to see people adopting alternative strategies. I think the reliance on residential property is certainly lessened. My personal view is that following the election, we're likely to see a Conservative majority. We will then exit the EU fairly swiftly, and I think we will see a bit of a bounce back in the residential market during the course of 2020. We have been concerned about relying on an unreliable residential market. Our investors expect us to have a keen eye on risk, and where you can pre-sell a development to a commercial operator and forward fund that by selling the project early to an investment firm, you can de-risk the project. I attended the National Development Summit the last 2 years running, and at both of the summits I met a number of key people who have helped me build my business in the last 3 years. So I expect that this year will be no exception. Obviously, I'm co-hosting the summit with you, Brendan. I'm looking forward to doing that. That's a very high-profile thing to do, and I'm sure that will result in a lot of very interesting conversations, as it has in the last 2 years. So I first attended the National Development Summit 2 years ago, and at that point, I didn't have a lot of contacts in the London property development scene. I met a number of people who helped me in terms of finance, in terms of investment. I then went on, and in particular, I think I met Rob Wilkinson from Crowd With Us. He was a key individual in terms of helping me raise equity for some of the projects that we're working on at the moment. The following year, I featured in the summit quite heavily. Again, that led to some contacts which have helped me develop the projects that I'm working on at the moment. So I think as time has gone on, the contacts that I've developed have been different and in different areas. And I think the point for me about the summit is that the quality of the attendees is such that whatever level you're operating at, you're going to meet people who are useful to you. Another example is I met a chap from a private equity fund last year, and we're talking to him about how we can do joint ventures funded by the private equity fund. Commercial Property Summit is something new for you, Brendan, I know, and I think we're excited about it because commercial property now represents something like 90% of our forecast business turnover in the next 2 years, and so our focus has shifted very strongly towards commercial property, particularly the apart hotel sector, but other commercial areas such as car hire and retail. I'm hoping that summit will connect me with some useful people that I otherwise might not have connected with, and will help us develop more business. I think in terms of people that can help us develop the business, it's going to be people like commercial property agents who we can source sites through, who can help us find tenants for our business, commercial property agents who can help us with forward funding or investment sale of sites, planners who have solid experience in dealing with planning and development on large sites, and I guess specialist financiers. When you start to move into commercial, the range of lenders that are available to you becomes a bit less wide, and so specialist development lenders for the areas that we're working in. They're a good mix of people. I think a range of people who are doing sort of smaller things to larger things. They're always relatively informal. They're good fun. There's a good community there, and I think the way that they're run, without an agenda, there's nobody selling training, or there's no particular agenda to the meets. I think for me, that means that what you're really getting is good, pure property content.